Thank you for your interest in Campus Catalyst. Today, we're going to show you how to do a case. There will be 2 applicants providing sample responses to the case. After each question, I will break apart the responses to determine who provided a better answer and why. As an interviewer, I look for evidence-driven hypotheses, organized frameworks, and structured and actionable recommendations. Here's our case today. Your client is Campus Dreams, a nonprofit in Bronzeville that provides year-round programming to underserved youth in the south side of Chicago. Some of the activities Campus Dreams offers its kids are basketball, Spanish lessons, and computer skills classes. Campus Dreams currently offers programs using spaces that Bronzeville Lighthouse Charter School lets them use for free. However, Bronzeville Lighthouse Charter School is moving to a new location, and most of Campus Dreams students will not be able to make their commute out to its new location. Campus Dreams has come to Campus Catalyst. First, what factors should Campus Dreams consider when deciding which property to move to?
There are a couple of factors I would want to consider. First, a basic cost-revenue comparison, looking to see what Campus Dreams can afford with current budget and how much they would need to spend. Since Campus Dreams is currently using Bronzeville Lighthouse Charter School space for free, I think that the cost is going to be one of the driving factors in the case. Second, I would examine the needs of the organization and whether or not they need a specific type of space, and because they have certain programming. And then finally, third, I would want to look at the preferences of the nonprofit's board, employees, and clients.
So when I went to summer camp back in 5th grade, I really loved swimming. And I think that they definitely need a property that's close to the water, maybe on Lakeshore Drive somewhere, or somewhere with access to a pool, because I think they would draw a lot of kids to the program that way. Another thing they should consider is how much they're willing to spend on the new property. They should also consider moving with Bronzeville Lighthouse Charter School, maybe.
Both of these responses answered the question. However, Person A's responses was better. Person A organized their thoughts by clearly listing out different factors. Person A also developed the hypothesis that cost will be the most important factor to evaluate, allowing the interviewer to prioritize these factors as well and easily follow her thought process. Person B, on the other hand, was not as organized and simply listed random ideas. In addition, Person B drew on their own experience, which, although is a good starting point for brainstorming, was not fitting for this scenario and doesn't fit the client's needs. Person B also made several claims without evidence. For example, he suggested that a swimming pool would bring in more students. Now back to the case.
So since I think that cost is a driving factor, do you by any chance have financial data that I could look at?
Here you go.
Great. So looking at the data, we can see that their revenue was increasing from 2013 to 2015, but decreased in 2016. This is a bit troubling, especially considering that expenses have not fallen at a similar rate. In addition, if they want to purchase a new property, it doesn't really seem like they have the financial capability to do so, because financial projections don't show them breaking even until 2019. So it seems like if they're trying to purchase a property immediately, it's not really possible unless they raise a bunch of money. But we might want to look at alternatives such as partnering with another school or organization or renting a space.
Thanks for the data. Campus Dreams made $160,000 last year, which is more than they started off with in 2013. Even though there was a small dip, the general trend in their total revenue has definitely been increasing, which is great news. This means that as long as Campus Dreams can find a property for under $160,000, they should be okay.
Again, Person A provides a better answer. Person A looks at all the data and then draws a conclusion after analyzing it. On the other hand, Person B only looked at a small segment and wasn't considering the other information presented, like total expenses.
Since we've determined that Campus Dreams might want to partner with another organization or rent out a space, the next step would be to figure out where this should be. Do you have any data about the neighborhoods in Chicago, like where the most need would be for such an organization?
Here you go. Great. So if we look at the map, South Shore is the furthest from the community that they currently serve in Bronzeville. Moreover, Bronzeville appears to have the highest needs since they have more people who have never graduated high school, the lowest median household income, and a high percentage of single-mother households. Since Campus Dreams' mission is to serve underserved youth, there appears to be a great need for services in Bronzeville. In addition, Camp of Dreams currently already has a connection in this neighborhood, so I think Bronzeville makes the most sense.
South Shore seems to have the highest population per youth center, and I can do this math by dividing the numbers in my head of centers by the population. We see that South Shore therefore would have the best place to relocate since there's a higher ratio.
Person A's answer is better. Person A has managed to keep sight of the organization's mission to serve at-risk youth and tailored her answer accordingly. Once again, Person A was mindful of all the data presented to her and made a strong conclusion. Person B had a good idea to calculate this ratio. However, he forgot who Camp of Dreams serves. Therefore, even though his thought process was logical, his conclusions weren't exactly relevant. Alright, moving on. Which property do you believe is the best choice for Camp of Dreams?
Earlier, we established that keeping costs low and staying in Bronzeville were crucial. So if I'm looking at this data, I can reaffirm my earlier thoughts that renting is preferable. There's a high investment cost involved with purchasing any of these properties, and there's also high renovation costs, so Camp of Dreams doesn't really have the money to do that. Moreover, there are 2 Bronzeville properties, but there's only one for rent, so I recommend that Camp of Dreams rent the American Muslim Center.
So, like I mentioned before, it's really important for us to be close to the water. And I also mentioned that South Shore is where we want it to be. So looking at the data, there are only 2 South Shore properties. And I think that this South Shore orphanage would be great. It costs $150,000, which is $10,000 below our yearly revenue. Moreover, buying a property would be a strong investment. And after it's purchased and renovated, the annual upkeep costs are relatively low. And this property could be a great investment for the future, and it could allow Camp of Dreams to consolidate their programs.
Both interviewees followed through on their earlier analyses and used this data to support their findings. However, Person B again confused revenue with profit. As a result, Person B made unactionable recommendations since Camp of Dreams probably cannot afford this. Although Person B also looked to the future, which is great, Person A carried through their hypotheses all the way to the end and eliminated the impossible properties, ensuring that her answer was concise and actionable. Both of them could have considered the preferences of the students to have a more nuanced recommendation. Overall, there is never one right answer or one way to solve this case. It's important just to be concise, organized, and actionable. By doing so, it's easier for the interviewer to follow along your thought process. Remember, in the actual Campus Catalyst case, you'll be working with 3 others in order to come up with a conclusion, so it's important to collaborate together to get the right answer. Thanks, and we hope you apply to Campus Catalyst.